how to connect a LinkedIn profile and email to the Green for Sales platform. First of all, we need to create a sender profile. We click the Create button, enter the first name, enter the last name, select task sign, which is the user to whom automatic tasks will be assigned, and also the label block. This is purely a text block. If you need to leave a note for the profile, fill it in. If not, just leave it empty. After this, we click Create and the profile will be created. In our video, in the case that it is already created, we then proceed to the LinkedIn tab. Here we are greeted by a brief description of the login method and why it is exactly like this. We continue with the process. Create GoLogin profile. And now we need to choose a proxy. If you have your own proxy, you can connect it. If not, select the country you need. For example, let's say it will be Australia. Let's move on to the next step. Here we need to extend the session in our GoLogin browser. If you are already a user of GoLogin, here you can simply enter your email and the session will be sent to you, and then proceed with the next steps. If you haven't used it before, click here. Here we have native registration. You enter your login, create a password. The profile will be created automatically. After this, the system will also offer you to download the browser to your device. In our case, the profile already exists, so we enter our email for registration and proceed to the next step. Next, we have the setting of server operation limits. This is an additional security step. Why is it necessary? If the server operates 24/7, accordingly, LinkedIn is also considered active 24/7 and directly. Bots can be triggered by this. To protect yourself, you can set up a schedule for when the servers will operate, thus simulating human work. An important point is that while the servers are off, no messenger synchronization occurs and no impulse is generated. That is, if someone messages you outside the server's working schedule, then this message will not be pulled in immediately, but only after the server resumes operation. We've set the schedule, and we are met with the final steps for connecting the profile. What is needed? We need to open a session with the corresponding name in GoLogin. Next, proceed as you would in a regular browser by logging into LinkedIn normally. After this, close the browser itself, but do not close the application. And confirm that we have completed all the steps. Checking the session. After this, the connection takes place. When the profile is connected, we are greeted by a similar page. Here we can see the proxy details with whom the session is shared, and also the daily limits that you can set for active actions from your profile. Now, let's move on. Send email. If you have an email on Gmail. Click here, we are greeted by a brief instruction on what needs to be done for the connection. You need to enable IMAP. The next step is to set up two-factor authentication. And the third step is to generate an app password. This is a 16-character password generated directly by Google, and it is exactly what we need for the connection. After completing all the steps, we go here, enter the email address, and enter the app password. Password, but without spaces between the characters. Click Continue, and the email will be connected. If you have a different provider, we need to go here and specify a name. Let it be something specific. Enter the password. And then we are redirected to the data entry page. We see that the SMTP, ATOBAS, and IMAP logins have been pulled in, and the password has been copied accordingly. If the system knows which email provider you have, what about the host addresses and ports? It will also try to fill them in automatically. If the system does not have information about your provider, these details need to be entered manually. The host addresses for IMAP and SMTP you can find out from your email provider. Ports are usually default. IMAP will most likely be 993, SMTP could usually be 465 or 587. You can find out the host addresses from your provider's support. After that, click Continue and the email will be connected as well.